And welcome, sports fans, to today's roundtable. We've got a lot to get to today when it comes to last night in high school football here in Southeast Missouri, Northeast Arkansas, and as well as quite a bit happening last night in the world of sports. The St. Louis Cardinals defeating the Atlanta Braves 6-3 in that wild card round. It didn't come cleanly, let's say, literally. What a game there in Atlanta last night. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. We've got a couple videos to bring to you from our local colleges. Arkansas State's multi-million-dollar football facility. As Brad Bobo mentioned last week on the roundtable, we'll have an animated video of that facility and what a facility it'll be for the Red Wolves football program there at ASU. And also we'll get a press conference by Tony Samuel, the head coach of the Southeast Missouri State Redhawks, on their season thus far. And also we'll touch on, of course, the state rankings for high school football and volleyball for the state of Missouri, and quite a few teams doing well so far this year, so we'll touch on that as well. But glad you joined us this Saturday here on the Roundtable. Be sure to tune in each Saturday morning, 10 a.m., here on YHC, online at YHCTV.com, and replays through Tuesday of each week. So be sure to tune in to us live here on YHC for the Roundtable each Saturday at 10 a.m. And let's take a look at the scores from last night, and we'll take a look at the Charleston and Dexter contest to start. It was Charleston defeating Dexter 16-8. Had that game live here on YHC last night, and a very defensive-oriented game. It seemed like whoever was going to come up with a fumble was going to have next chance to score, because we had, I think, maybe 9 to 10 fumbles, and I think actually more than that. I think we had 10 to 11, and I think 9 total turnovers in that contest. I think Charleston had 5, and then Dexter had 4. So the ball was on the ground quite a bit last night, and it was basically an even trade. No team really benefited from the other. They pretty much turned the ball over equally, but it was certainly a defensive battle last night, trying to gain the field position. The ball didn't move up the field in big chunks. It was just small chunks back and forth. But Charleston broke away for a few big plays to go into the end zone, and Dexter just couldn't really get any offensive momentum going throughout this contest. Their only score coming into the third quarter, so not a lot of scoring in that contest last night. It was very wet, and even though the field didn't the field actually held the water well, it was just, when it comes to ball control, it was just hard for each team to really get any momentum offensively to put a drive together. So it came down to just a few plays. Charleston put the ball in the end zone on a couple big plays, and Dexter just couldn't get anything going offensively. So a defensive battle between those two games last night. And also in other games, Osceola defeated Piggott down there in Piggott last night, 44-6, and a tough out for the Piggott Mohawks, playing at quite a bit bigger school in Osceola, and Osceola just ran away with that one last night, 44-6. And we'll have that replaying Sunday at 7 and Tuesday at 6:30. And referring back to the Charleston-Dexter game, that'll be replayed actually today at noon. We're going to replay that today at noon, and also Sunday at 4. So look forward to that today at noon, Sunday at 4. And on to other games from last night. Portageville with a shutout victory, 46-0 over the East Prairie Eagles. No problem for Portageville. They actually got those 46 points in the first half, so that was your halftime score, 46-0, and basically just cruised the rest of the way through the second half. So no problem for the Portageville Bulldogs last night. They extend their undefeated record, and certainly in a good position to finish the season undefeated. They've got one game left on the season. Next week they've got a bye. They've got a JV game with Kelly, which of course Kelly doesn't have a varsity program, only a JV program. Just instituted that football program this year. And Portageville's got New Madrid County Central in 2 weeks, and we'll have that game here on YHC for replay. So a big clash between those two New Madrid County teams in 2 weeks. And other games, Malden over Chaffee, no problem, 46-22. The Malden Green Wave with a victory last night. They're having an impressive season so far. Also, we have Valley Catholic big over New Madrid County Central, 40-0. And I mentioned yesterday on the sports segment on the newscast that I was looking forward to this matchup, just seeing how Valley Catholic plays up a few classes against New Madrid, but no problem for Valley as they take care of New Madrid County Central in a shutout, 40-0. And also we have Sykeston over Cape Central, 25-21. This came down to the wire. Cape Central was up 21-19 in the final quarter, the last few minutes. Sykeston put together a touchdown drive and put that win away in the last few minutes. Impressive game by the Sykeston Bulldogs. They extend their undefeated season, and Cape Central gave them all they wanted and almost come away with it, but just not enough. But Sykeston, another impressive victory in their column for this year. Also, we have Poplar Bluff over Farmington in a close one, 14-6. Close one there between those two teams last night. And we have Hayti over Scott City, 22-14. Close one there between those two teams. Hayti edging out Scott City in that game last night. Also, we have Park Hill Central, no problem with Perryville, 35-0. And those are the games from last night. And I tell you, it seems like probably 3 or 4 weekends or 3 or 4 Friday nights. And the football season this year has been having to play in rain, and not just rain. I'm talking about downpour rain, and that was probably the case last night throughout the area. So the teams have certainly been used to playing in the weather this year, having to deal with it, but it's just the way it's been this year. It's awfully strange. Seems like a rain comes up almost every other Friday so far this season, so it was no different last night. And also we want to touch on some high school softball. We've got district play underway in high school softball here in Missouri. And taking a look at the brackets in Class 2, the district tournament, it went to Kelly. Kelly defeated St. Vincent yesterday in the district championship. They will now move on to I believe it will be the sectional round, and they will play Twin Rivers this next Wednesday at 6. So moving on to state tournament play is Kelly and also Twin Rivers. So we'll be keeping an eye on those state tournaments going forward. And also in Class 4, we got Farmington and Cape Central facing off Monday for that Class 4 district championship, and again that's Monday at 4:30. And be sure to stay tuned to the roundtable here on Saturdays, and also with YHC Sports throughout the week on our newscasts, noon, 5:30, 9:30, midnight. We'll keep up with all the district tournament action in those softball games all this week and for the following weeks to keep up with those results. And if you want to get involved in our show, be sure to email sports@yhctv.com. We'll take any shout-outs, any mentions, any topics you want to bring up and discuss here on the roundtable. So be sure to email sports@yhctv.com. And I want to touch on that Cardinals and Braves game from last night. Quite a bit of controversy there at around the 8th inning. I think it was the 8th inning, the bottom of the 8th. The Braves had a person on first and second with 1 out and a shallow pop fly into the outfield. It was Kozma going out to retrieve it. He got under the ball and at the last second let it go for Matt Holliday behind him, and it showed in the replay that the left field umpires, you see there with his hand up right before Kozma gave up on the ball, and he called infield fly rule. And of course there's a broad interpretation of infield fly rule. The rule actually states that if an infielder is under a pop fly, basically comfortably under a ball, that he doesn't have to make an extra effort to make, that the infield fly rule is in effect. So basically it's not necessarily an infield fly rule. Calling it an infield fly rule is probably misleading, just because the logical circumstance for it to take place is in the infield, just because it's easy to make a play. And basically the infield fly rule is to protect the runners against a potential double play. For instance, if you've got a runner on first and second, an infield fly goes up, the runners are going to stay close to their own base, of course, and if you just let it fall, they can turn a double play pretty quick just because the runners have 90 feet to go. So that's basically the concept of the rule. And based on the rule, the umpire did make the correct call. It just turns out the circumstance is quite different than when it's been applied before, due to it being in the shallow outfield and Kozma giving up on the ball and it falls to the ground. So of course there's going to be controversy because, well, if the ball fell to the ground, the Braves have a chance to advance the runners, which they did. But just looking at the rule, it was called correctly, and it was just a matter of circumstance that the ball, Kozma gave up on the ball and it fell to the ground. Of course, the debris ensued, and like I said before, that wind didn't come cleanly, and I meant that literally. The about 15, I think it was 18-minute delay they had to clean up the debris on the field, so you never want to see that, of course. But quite a deal last night. It seems like we've had probably more controversy in 1 month when it comes to officiating across all professional sports than probably in sports history. But it's just a weird development that happened, and I don't think there's going to be any change in any rule. It's just the way it happened. You can make the argument that the umpire didn't call it early enough, but the rule doesn't really make any mandate that you call it within a certain time period. If an infielder's under a ball and waiting for it, at that point you've got to protect the runners because that fielder has quite a bit of leverage to, give up on a ball, pick it up off the ground, and get a double play. That's basically the concept of the rule. So just probably a weird application how that rule was applied last night. But the Cardinals move on to the 14 playoff, the conventional 14 playoff now, and they'll take on the Nationals and actually have the first 2 games at home. And this is one of the changes that the Major League Baseball has implemented, that the team without home field advantage will host the first 2 games, but it's a 5-game series, by the way. They'll host the first 2 games, and the remaining 3 potential games in the series are on at the team with a better record. So the team that has home field advantage will actually host the last 3 games instead of the first 2. So that's how they're changing it up a bit this year. But if you look at it, having 2 of the home games that you host as the team without home field advantage, have those in the first 2 games. You probably want it that way, to get those first 2 games at home. And if you're fortunate enough to win those 2, you only have to win 1 more. And of course, you got to do it over 3 games. You've got 3 chances to do it, but they're all on the road. But Cardinals can pull out 2 wins at home. That gives them a good opportunity to go on the road and just win 1 out of 3 there in Washington. So Cardinals starting to stir that magic once again this year. Hopefully it'll continue. And taking a look at the other side, the Orioles defeated the Texas Rangers last night. And quite a season by the Orioles, coming out of nowhere, been in the basement of the AL East for so long, and now into the 14 playoff format. They're going up against the Yankees out of the American League East as well. So a nice series worked up there between those 2, and also the Oakland Athletics, the AL West champions, taking on the Detroit Tigers, the AL Central champions. So got some new blood in there this year, looking at the A's and the Orioles on the American League side. On the National League side, the Giants, San Francisco Giants, the world champions just from 2 years ago, taking on the Cincinnati Reds, and AL Central champs. And the Reds were there last year, but didn't take but 3 games to put them out of the playoffs last year. But got to bring back a seasoned team. They put together quite a season. Won that National League Central going away, no problem. Going to be a tough team to beat this year. They're in Cincinnati. So, of course, the Cardinals taking on the Nationals. So, hopefully Cardinals can put together a run once again this year. So, we'll see how it all plays out, as the first game against the Nationals will be Sunday at 2. And Monday, that's the game 2, will be Monday at 3:30. So, look forward to those games in St. Louis as the Cardinals take on the Nationals starting this Sunday. So, go Cardinals. And go for that repeat world championship. It's within reach, so get after it. And we're going to take a break and be back with some state rankings and Missouri volleyball and football. We'll be back with those coming up.
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
In addition to unlimited calling, New Wave telephone users have a wide range of great phone features available. And now with the help of New Wave Internet, they're even easier to use thanks to our convenient online phone manager. Just log on to your MyWave portal. Now phone features like call forwarding can be set up instantly from any computer. Reliably activate or deactivate your call forwarding. And even set your home phone to ring once when a call is forwarded. Home telephone service made even better with New Wave Communications. Call today.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, insuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days, and we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
And taking a look at the state rankings for Missouri football to start with, and we'll start off with Class 1 and Hamilton still on top there at number 1. 2, Salisbury. 3, Tipton. 4, Valley Catholic. 5, Miller. 6, Skyline. 7, Wellington Napoleon. 8, South Harrison. 9, Cass Midway. They're moving into the top 10 this week. And 10, a two-way tie between Drexel and Westron. So there's only a change there at the bottom half, or the bottom 2 rankings of that Class 1 poll for this week. And in Class 2, Lafayette County still on top at number 1. 2, Maplewood Richmond Heights. 3, Clark County. 4, Blair Oaks, actually a two-way tie for 4th, Blair Oaks and Mountain Grove. 6, Crothersville. 7, Mountain View Liberty. 8, Holden. 9, South Callaway. And 10, Stratford. So a little bit change there. Mountain View Liberty, previously at number 2, suffered a loss last week and moved all the way down to 7. And Maplewood Richmond Heights moves up to number 2. So a little change there in the Class 2 poll for this week. And Class 3, John Burrell still at number 1, 2, Maryville. 3, Cassville. 4, Oak Grove. 5, Centralia. 6, St. Genevieve. 7, Hogan Prep. 8, California. 9, Clinton. And 10, Soldan. So St. Genevieve still remains there at number 6. And not much change in that poll for this week. And Class 4, Webb City still on top at number 1, 2, Savannah. 3, Harrisonville. 4, Sykeston. 5, Hannibal. 6, St. Dominic. 7, Sullivan. 8, Helias out of Jeff City. 9, Miller Career Academy. And 10, Hillcrest. So Sykeston retains its number 4 ranking in Class 4 for this week. In Class 5, Kirkwood still on top of number 1. Actually a two-way tie for number 1 this week. Kirkwood and Lee Summit West. 3, Rockwood Summit. 4, Staley. 5, Fort Osage. 6, Parkway Central. 7, Ozark. 8, Hazelwood East. 9, Nixa. And 10, Webster Groves. And those are your football rankings for this week. Not a whole lot of change. Our local teams pretty much retain their ranking going into this week. So still competitive teams in those rankings in the state of Missouri so far this season. And moving on to volleyball. Let's move on to volleyball for the state rankings, and they didn't have a new poll for this week, so we'll give you the current poll from the Missouri State Volleyball Coaches Association. And number 1 still in Class 1, Valley Catholic. 2, Advance. 3, Winona. 4, Wellington Napoleon. 5, Pierce City. 6, Lutheran Kansas City. 7, St. Mary's Independence. 8, Santa Fe. 9, Green Ridge. And 10, Leopold. In Class 2, St. Pius out of Festus. 2, Fatima. 3, Bishop LeBlanc. 4, Fair Grove. 5, El Dorado Springs. 6, St. Paul Lutheran. 7, Mountain Grove. 8, Holden. 9, Mountain View Liberty. And 10, Stratford. In Class 3, Logan Rogersville at number 1. 2 Pleasant Hill, 3 Westminster Academy, 4 Cape Notre Dame, 5 St. Pius out of Kansas City, 6 Lutheran South, 7 St. Francis Borgia, 8 O'Hare, 9 Green Valley, and 10 Carl Junction. In Class 4, Lafayette at number 1, 2 St. Joseph's Academy, 3 Lee Summit West, 4 Francis Howell. I think one of these are Francis Howell North. Excuse me for that. Number 5, 6 Ozark, 7 Blue Springs, 8 Kickapoo, 9 Marquette, 10 Park Hill South. And those are your rankings for Class 4 or Class 1 through 4 for the state of Missouri. And again, it's not a new poll. They just didn't have a new poll for this week, so we'll try to bring a new one for you next week here on the Roundtable. And we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some college football matchups, even pro football matchups, and we're going to have Tony Samuel's press conference for this week from Southeast Missouri State, and also the upcoming football facility for the A-State Red Wolves. And what a facility that is, multi-million-dollar facility, and we've got an animated video of that. You'll be quite impressed, so we'll be back with those coming up.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
At Glen St. Kennett, we have a lot full of inventory and the best rebates of the year. I'm Danny Ford, owner of Glen St. We just want the opportunity to talk to you about your next car or truck. The rebates are the best of the year and interest rates the lowest to work with. It's a great time to buy, and our people are excited to help you make the right choice. We realize you have a lot of dealers to choose from, but I can assure you no one appreciates your business like we do. Glen St. Kennett, and God bless our troops.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
And now let's take a look at some college football matchups for today that are going to take place, and big games for this weekend across the board. We've got some top 10 matchups for you in college football, and among them are 4th-ranked LSU at 10th-ranked Florida. Big SEC matchup today between those two teams. Should be a good one there in Florida. Also, 8th-ranked West Virginia at 11th-ranked Texas in the Big 12. West Virginia into that Big 12 conference this year, and should be a good game between those two teams. Geno Smith for West Virginia coming off a big performance last week, I believe upward to 8 touchdowns, over 600 passing yards, and should be quite a game there with the Longhorns today. Also in the SEC, another top 10 matchup, 5th-ranked Georgia at 6th-ranked South Carolina. And a big game between those two teams in the SEC. Also, they're in that SEC conference. Also, we have Miami at 9th-ranked Notre Dame. Notre Dame, impressive season. They're in the top 10 so far. In the SEC or the ACC, we've got 3rd-ranked Florida State at NC State. And in the Big Ten, 21st-ranked Nebraska at 12th-ranked Ohio State. In the Pac-12, 23rd-ranked Washington at 2nd-ranked Oregon. So those are some big games to look forward to. Big games to look forward to for today. And also Missouri's got Vanderbilt there in Missouri. And also the Razorbacks on the road taking on Auburn. And actually that SEMO game, at SEMO's Tennessee State at SEMO, that's not today. It's actually next week. I just go ahead and put their next opponent in there to to show that they're playing Tennessee State next week in the Ohio Valley Conference. Now, the A-State Red Wolves already played Thursday night, and they played Florida International, and so they don't play today. They've got a game next week with South Alabama, so they'll be taking today off, and they played Florida International from Thursday night. And did they get that victory, Rick? Okay, I think they actually won that game. I saw the score and forgot it in the meantime, but we'll let you know. So many things, so many scores going on, hard to keep up from Thursday night. But A-State Red Wolves got the day off. They'll be playing next week against South Alabama. So Red Wolves, impressive season so far. They suffered a loss to Western Kentucky, opening up their Sun Belt Conference. So a little rough start when it comes to conference play for the Red Wolves, but awful tough conference this year in the Sun Belt. We've seen teams all across the board, Louisiana Monroe, Troy. Troy's a tough team this year. They pretty much always are. A-State's there in the mix now. Western Kentucky looks like they're going to be in the mix. So a very competitive Sun Belt Conference this year ahead for the A-State Red Wolves. And at this time, let's take a look at NFL football real quick before we move on to some of those videos we're going to talk about. So we'll touch on the NFL real quick. The matchup's taking place. The Dolphins taking on the Bengals in Cincinnati for tomorrow. Also, we've got the Packers at the Colts, Eagles at the Steelers, Falcons at the Redskins, Ravens at the Chiefs, Broncos taking on the Patriots in New England, and rivalry renewed there. Probably the game of the week people looking forward to. That's the quarterbacks, Tom Brady of the Patriots and Peyton Manning of the Broncos, and a little different matchup this year. Of course, we're used to seeing the Colts and the Patriots go at it each year, but a little different with the Broncos at the Patriots to renew that rivalry between those two quarterbacks. Also, we've got the Titans at the Vikings, Seahawks at the Panthers, Chargers at the Saints, and the Texans at the Jets for Monday Night Football. And already stirring up the Tebow mania there. There in New York, the New York Jets having a hard time offensively. Got shut out by the 49ers last week, and just not a very good situation there in New York right now. Lost Santonio Holmes for the year with a Liz Frank injury, and that offense just looking anemic. I just can't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball, and of course that it opens up the conversation about Tim Tebow being inserted at the starting quarterback, but Rex Ryan's pretty committed to Mark Sanchez there at the quarterback position, so just never know what's going to happen when it comes to Tim Tebow being there, the backup quarterback there in the waiting, so we'll see how all that develops there in New York. And, okay, the A-State game, 34-20, ASU won. I thought that, but just didn't want to say that as a matter of fact, but they did win 34-20 over Florida International from Thursday night, and that was on ESPN2 or ESPNU, one of those networks from Thursday night. And at this time, let's take a look at the press conference with Tony Samuel talking about their bye week, looking ahead to Tennessee State for next week, and talking about their season so far. So let's take a look at that press conference with Tony Samuel.
Jacksonville. That was a really good football game, possession football, basically what it boiled down to. And both teams trying to just keep possession of the ball, move it slow. I thought we did a good job at times. They did a good job down the stretch when it counted. But both teams just went toe-to-toe. Offensively, I thought we did a nice job with that first drive. They pinned us, we went 99 yards, and then they came back and they won the third down possession game. So very, very good football game. You know, a lot of people tell me that from a fan standpoint, that was a very good game, but you know, we want to win. Well, you know, we have our moments. You know, this particular time, both teams did well offensively on third down. We were, I think, 8 for 14, and I don't know what their numbers.
They were 10 for 13, yeah.
So both teams, I thought, did a good job on third down from an offensive standpoint. Neither one got off the field. From a defensive standpoint, You know, they did a good job when they needed to throw the ball. You know, they didn't throw a lot of balls, but they threw some key first down getters throwing, and we just didn't close out on a couple things there. Something we still have to keep working on. You know, something we definitely have to keep working on. Well, a lot of times you look at first down. You know, a lot of people look at third down a lot because that's the one that makes people punt.
Yeah.
So you like to be in a perfect world, 3rd and 5 or longer. The longer the better. When you start getting into 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s, well, the probability of getting the first down increase.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks ago, we were in a lot of situations where we were getting turnovers. And this game, we didn't get the turnovers, and we weren't converting third down from a defensive perspective. So that's not a good combination. You know, Pies is strange. This time it is because I thought the last 2 games were very intense and very emotional. And I think it's a good time for us, especially having to play Tennessee State, who's next, who's another physical football team. And, you know, it takes its toll. You know, you only have so many people as far as depth is concerned at this level. And I think that's something that we need to pay good attention to this week. There's a lot of little things we have to clean up, but we also have to get some people back and still evaluate a couple of people as far as starting positions. Tuesday, we'll look at ourselves pretty much totally. Wednesday, a little bit more percentage of still looking at ourselves and a little bit of Tennessee State. Thursday and Friday, it should go back to Tennessee State.
Expect the first touchdown.
Yeah, you know, more important than that touchdown was that play coming out on the 1-yard line. You know, he was hit at the line of scrimmage. He picked up another 4 yards, gave us a little cushion there because
that play, that was great.
Yeah, that to me was his biggest play. The touchdown was a great play too, but that started the whole thing for us.
Well, in general, he's been playing pretty good for you, ain't he?
Yeah, he's playing well. He's playing well. But fullback is a position that you want to have a couple, 3 guys because, you know, back is also a guy on a lot of special teams. And now that he's playing so much at fullback because Ron's down, he's not getting as much reps in some of the special teams areas. So that weakens a couple of spots there. But from a fullback standpoint, I think he's done a very good job for us.
That was a great play. Yeah. I know he doesn't play a whole lot, I guess, at receiver, does he? Or?
No, he doesn't play a lot of receivers. He's got real good hands, but you see him on just about every special teams, and that's one of those guys that, you know, one of those unsung people. You know, they have to play a lot of special teams. They play a lot of snaps, but people don't recognize them until they do something that just jumps out at you like that.
Really high scores.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about that as a staff. The country's like that right now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of scores have gone up, you know, and you've got to attribute that to a couple things. You know, you've got the 40-second clock and some of the hurry offenses, people just spreading and throwing and running, and in some cases, you know, I think we had a record in the league this year, 210 plays run by 210 offensive plays run. I think it was Murray against Eastern Illinois. That's an awful lot of snaps. Whereas in our game with Jacksonville, we had 67 plays to their 69, I think it was, the styles of games and what you're trying to do.
And you see there, Tony Samuel gearing up for the remaining Ohio Valley Conference opponents, and had a tough go with the season so far there in the Ohio Valley, dropping a few games there, but a lot of season still yet. Getting started with Tennessee State next week, resuming that Ohio Valley Conference schedule. And now let's take a look at the video from Arkansas State, and what a video this is, the animated video of the upcoming football facility, multi-million-dollar football facility from Arkansas State. And Brad Bobo talked about this last week, this facility that's coming, and what an addition to the program this will be for the Arkansas State football program. Well, let's take a look at this video. quite impressive, as you can probably see. That football facility coming to Arkansas State for the football program, an indoor facility, enclosed. That's big time, brother. That's you probably won't see that anywhere in the Sun Belt Conference, that's for sure. And that's coming to Arkansas State, and of course having Gus Malzahn there with the high caliber of talent that he is as a head coach, it's going to bring a lot of expectations and a lot of people getting behind this facility to bring it to Arkansas State there in Jonesboro. So very impressive facility coming to Jonesboro. I think that's in the next year or two that's going to be implemented. I'm not exactly sure. I think it might be 2013, but it certainly is coming to the Arkansas State campus. And when it comes to weight room, facilities, training facilities, and the indoor indoor field there, enclosed field, and it's going to certainly be a great recruiting tool for the Red Wolves going forward. So you're looking at a big-time football program with those facilities coming to the Arkansas State campus. So very impressive, that facility coming to A-State. And now let's take a look at the football games that are going to be taking place next Friday you can look forward to. And we'll have Park Hill Central and Dexter here live on YHC Friday night at 7. Also, we'll have Piggott at Rivercrest, or excuse me, that's going to be Rivercrest at Piggott there. Rivercrest at, actually, I don't think there is a game there, Rick. I don't think there's a game. Yeah, I think that game's at Rivercrest, so we're not actually going to be televising that one. So Piggott Rivercrest not on the schedule, the televised schedule for us next week, but Piggott will be at Rivercrest. East Prairie's at Charleston, Crothersville's at Hayti, Malden's at Kennett, New Meadow County Central is at Fredericktown, Poplar Bluff at Normandy, Sykeston's at Jennings out of St. Louis. That'll be taking place on Saturday. And Chaffee will be taking on Jefferson at Jefferson. So those are the games to look forward to next Friday in our area. And we'll be looking forward to those games next Friday, of course, and we'll be looking forward to having you back with us this coming Saturday right back here on the Roundtable. And be sure to join us, and we'll be looking forward to you and bringing you more results and commentary for sports here in Southeast Missouri and Northeast Arkansas. And until then, I'm Tyler Wagner, and have yourself a great week.